Hello and welcome to Ridiculous Gaming, and I'm your host, The Ridiculous Gamer. This is my first video and it's immediately going to be at the start of a new series called Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey is going to be about the history and the fighting capabilities of planes from World War II and especially those featured in the game War Thunder. This episode of Birds of Prey is going to be about the Typhoon. The Typhoon was the biggest single-seat fighter bomber produced by the Hawker Aircraft Corporation. It was intended to be a medium to high altitude interceptor as a replacement for the Hawker Hurricane. Development of the Typhoon began in the early months of 1938, when the Hawker Corporation received a new specification from the British Air Ministry, which called for a fighter who could reach speeds of up to 644 kilometers an hour, or 400 miles per hour, at altitudes of 4,600 meters or 15,000 feet. The armament was to be 12 Browning 7.7mm machine guns, with the possibility of interchanging them with other combinations of weaponry. The first two designs derived from this specification were the Typhoon and the Tornado, the latter of which featured the 12 machine guns as specified by the Air Ministry, but it never came further than the prototype stage. Two designs of the Typhoon went into production, the 1A and the 1B series. The 1A series featured 12 machine guns and was really a prototype series in and of itself. The 1B series performed significantly better as a result of structural improvements to the wing and tail sections, and it also featured 4 Mark II Hispano 20mm cannons. The Typhoon was rushed into operational service in late 1941 as a low-level interceptor, when it became apparent that the Spitfire Mark V series was outclassed by the new Focke-Wulf FW-190. This decision proved to be a disaster and the development of the Typhoon was almost halted as a result. It was only around the end of 1942 that the Typhoon proved its worth to the RAF, when it became tasked with intercepting and halting the German low-level news raids on the south and southeast coasts of England. By 1943 the RAF needed a ground attack fighter more than they needed an interceptor, and the Typhoon was perfect for this. Its powerful engine could make it carry up to 2 1,000-pound bombs or up to 4 60-pound rockets, which was equal or even better than the light bombers of only a few years earlier. At around the Normandy landings in 1944, 27 squadrons were in active service, 18 of which were part of the 2nd Tactical Air Force tasked with ground attack in Europe, and the other 9 were stationed in Britain itself as part of its air defense. But that's enough of the history for this frame really. I'm sure you all want to know how it fares in the game. Well, War Thunder features 3 variants of the Typhoon. The Mark 1A at tier 2, the Mark 1B as a premium at tier 3, and the Mark 1B late at tier 3 as well. At first sight you could think that the Mark 1B is the same as the Mark 1B late, and for all intents and purposes it is. But if we go look into their modifications, we can see that the Mark 1B can carry up to 2 1,000-pound bombs and 8 76mm rockets, while the Mark 1B can only carry 2 1,000-pound bombs. In addition to that, the Mark 1B late has a battle rating of 4.7, while the Mark 1B has only a battle rating of 3.7. Which means that the Mark 1B could go up against planes from the upper tiers of tier 2, while the Mark 1B late could go against, I don't know, early versions, the Mark 16 Spitfire, the Seafire even, Mosquitoes. So the Mark 1B really has an easy matchmaking, you could say. And the reason I'm not really paying attention to the Mark 1A is because, well, I don't like it. It's really crap. I mean, the Typhoon is not really a dogfighter, so you gotta boom and zoom really like a Thunderbolt. The Typhoon is really fast and it dives really well, but if you have armament like this, I mean, it just doesn't do the job. While the Mark 1B late, you can just freaking blow up an enemy and be done with it and move away. Let's see how the Mark 1B and the Mark 1B laid fare in game, shall we? Okay, so this is just an arcade battle, and this is how I like to play my Typhoon. I just go to a high altitude at the beginning, allow myself to get a good view of the battlefield, and dive on fights or bombers, like this B-24. And really, if you get on the tail of a bomber or a fighter of any kind, those accurate spawners will just tear them apart. Really, you're dead. You're dead if you happen to have a Typhoon on your tail. But really, its biggest strength can also be its biggest weakness. In that dive from that B-24, I went about 824 kilometers an hour. And as I said before, the Typhoon is not really a dogfighter. It performs really well at high speeds, but it doesn't turn very well. It can get really clunky and spurless, like a rock, really. A really steady rock, but still a rock nonetheless. But really, the best thing you can do against a Typhoon is just don't try to outrun him, because you can't. He will catch you in every which way. If he comes at you from above, below, or whatever, just try to let him pass like all dumb Typhoon pilots do, and try to get on his tail, because, as I said, you won't survive if he gets on yours. And this is a good example for what I just explained. You can see me here trying to engage on this Yak 9T, I believe. I gained some speed while I was level, and I tried to get on his tail, but as you might have guessed, I have too much speed, too much energy, and I nearly passed below him. I tried to get up again, and I almost became a really big scumbag, but I managed to avoid it at the last second. So, like any dogfight, I go and try to get back on his tail, but the Typhoon is a rock, as I said before, and not a Spitfire, so I really have a hard time doing so. And here you can see the Yak 9T pilot trying to get some cheap shots on that. I believe that's a Typhoon as well. But anyway, I try to get back on his tail. I'm damaged, so that doesn't really help in my case, but I really have a hard time. You can see this. I try to get back on his tail, but the Yak 9T does a wise thing and doesn't try to outrun me either in damage, and he makes a shallow dive, or he's about to make a shallow dive, and he goes and tries to avoid me. And here, the Yak 9T does a really good thing, because he goes and tries to dogfight with me, and this is the most hated thing for a Typhoon pilot, a dogfight, because 7 or 6 out of 10 cases you will lose, because the Typhoon is just not up for the job. It does do really well, however, in headwinds like this, but yeah, not always. I mean, it's not a gold plane, it's not invincible. It's just more to like any of us, and I believe on that bombshell I'm going to end this video. If you liked it, I suggest you press that like button for God, Queen and Country, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of whatever I decide to put up. Peace.